yesterday I did this. It's called the WCAW, which is a world championship arm wrestling competition.
Oh, and you
And
participated?
yes, I was one of the arm wrestlers. And it was really so this week we had a full rehearsal on Tuesday. And the character I chose basically has just like no mouth, is wearing a fleshy mask and looks horrifying, but I can't talk. I can't, emote with my face. And I went to this whole rehearsal on Tuesday and I realized what a mistake it was because I was like, this is awful. All these other arm wrestling people have bits prepared. And I just went up there and was like, oh God, I got to work this out. So luckily, somebody who was on one of my old sketch teams was available, and I changed the bit to possessing people to speak for me. But I felt like such an asshole because I was throwing the entire weight of the comedy on an unsuspecting person, but they liked it. And it turned out fine last night, but whew, I'm tired.
Mm. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Did you make it far in the arm wrestling competition?
I won. I won because I was able to psychologically hack her with embarrassing secrets and stuff like that. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's basically if you ever see like the campiest match in a wrestling tournament, it's just that every single match was that way. We had a one team that was an end anywhere match, so they were arm wrestling all over the theater, like literally running out, and then they eventually ran out of the building and ran away for like a few matches and then came back and finished it. It was so much fun.
That's awesome. Do you guys record those or no?
I think somebody had a camera going, so we'll see. I don't know if I necessarily need to see it, but it was a blast.
All right, welcome to Pals Chat. I am your host, Gina Parker. I'm here with Sadie Teal.
What's up?
How goes planning your movie? Any progress on that?
Oh, fuck. No, please don't bring that up. I've gotten so many distractions in front of it that I haven't even looked at it. Oh, I want to talk about the concept. I'm just gonna go ahead and
Oh,
I'm maybe I should save it. But it's basically a Christopher Guest style science fiction comedy. And I have
mm.
some plots and really what I want to do with it. So I'm gonna see if I can achieve this, but I would love it if it was almost like an episode of Seinfeld, but over a feature length film where there's all these different threads of plots that come together in like a really satisfying domino effect way. So if you were to see the laughs on a chart, it would be like exponential at the end. Like the end of Seinfeld, that episode where George found, the golf ball from pretending to be, what was it again? When he's like removing the golf ball from the whale after Kramer was hitting the golf balls off the beach. Do you remember that episode at all?
Don't. I did watch
Okay.
Seinfeld, but it's been a minute. So,
All right, then I sound crazy. But anyway, the Larry David formula of like the ABC plot all tying up. I want it
mhm.
to be like ABCDEF. We're gonna see if I can do it.
Mm. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So you have a lot of stuff to do before you even get to filming, huh?
I don't know. I'm just so scattered. So last weekend I went to a swords and film workshop with this stunt company out in Olathe called Ronin Stunt Company, and they're legitimately so impressive, like nationally impressive. I don't know. They won a competition and maybe they're biased about their abilities, but I was impressed. And so I did that like sword fighting thing, and then I was like, shit, I want to be good at this because I had the delusion because I kind of work out that I was gonna like walk in there and be like immediately incredible. I have that feeling a lot sometimes, and I'm like, that was definitely not the case. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but I really want to be good at this. So I've been looking for martial arts places, and today I went to this one dojo that is definitely not going to be the one that I land on. But yeah, I want to get more into that type
Mm.
work because that would be fun to do like an action scene.
That
Why
would be
not?
fun. Yeah, I
It's
thought if
like,
I would do
yeah,
anything, it would be Brazilian jiu-jitsu because they say that's the best one for women.
nice, nice.
Be- because it's not about your strength, it's about using your opponent's weight against them type thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was looking at the different forms of martial arts, and if I were to study one, I think I'd want to study judo for a similar reason, because that's one that was started by this kind of like real looking old man. And it's all about body mechanics and momentum. And also, judo translates to the gentle way, which is kind of what I'd be more interested in anyway. Because also, when I went today, I was like, I don't like the part where people are actually trying to punch me. I just want to look cool. I just want to like throw a fake punch and not have to like, oh shit, they're gonna hit me in the head. I don't want to get bonked. And I don't want to do it to anyone else. I liked in the stunt class, it was like showing you exactly where to end it so that it doesn't hurt your opponent. I'd rather lean into that.
There you go. You're a pacifist. You're a good person.
Oh, stop. Please.
All right. What have you been watching or reading or listening to or whatever this week?
Well, I started right before this call, I started the movie Creep. Have you seen that movie?
No.
I don't know what it's about. I'm only 30 minutes in and I don't know why I started it right before I knew I was going to come on this because I hate doing that, but I did it. So, but it's a movie that my mom recommended. And so far, it's a seemingly perverted guy making someone film him.
Okay.
And it's one of the Duplass guys. I don't know what their first names are, but it's a Duplass.
Mark and Jay.
Yeah, I can't tell. I don't know which is which. I think it's Mark.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
Do
Uh,
you like the Duplass brothers? I haven't watched a lot of like the mumblecore movies. Is that like a genre you're interested in?
I do enjoy mumblecore. Happy Christmas. I mean, it's kind of hit or miss. I do like mumblecore. Happy Christmas was one with like Gina Dunham, Melanie Linsky, and Anna Kendrick in it.
Nice.
And it's basically like Anna Kendrick is this out of control younger sister who comes to stay with her brother and his wife, and they kind of clash, but it's also mumblecore. I just really liked the sequence in the end where they were talking because Lena Dunham has this whole thing of like, I went home with this guy and I was naked on his bed. And he disappeared for a bit to go get something, and he could have murdered me. So my life was in danger. And Melanie Linsky was like, "Yeah," and Ed Curtis like, no, your life was never in danger. You just had sex with the guy and went home. And she's like, but it could have been in danger. No, it was never in danger at any point. You were fine the whole time. And and I just really love that end sequence of them talking. I don't know if I loved the whole movie.
But sometimes movies are like that where there's like a moment that's strong enough that it makes the entire thing worth it. I don't think a movie has to be consistently good all throughout for me to like absolutely love it if there's a good enough moment in it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, and you and I made a movie last year, which was a little mumblecore in that it was all improvised,
Very
um,
true.
with a friend of ours. And some of those moments really make me laugh. I think we actually had an MLM in it, and Lady was also in it, so that probably made her happy.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I don't know why for some reason MLMs, well, I just hate MLMs in general, but then like some of the products that MLMs sell are also just so stupid. I thought it'd be, I don't know. But then there's also part of me, so the product that was fake for that movie was a way to turn your bathwater into warm goo.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I kind of want that. Is the real truth about it. Is like when I watch Alien or when I watch like a weird, gross sci-fi, I'm like, I wonder how that goo feels, you know? And so then I took my hatred of MLMs and paired it with this weird kind of like, what's this goo all about? And there you go.
Mm.
Genius at work.
Looking back, I didn't yes and you a lot during that movie, and I feel bad about that.
Oh,
I think
don't even.
I think it turned out very great. It made me laugh so much, particularly
Mm.
you and another one of our friends who was in
Adele.
it. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think if Lady were here today, she'd be talking about Monkey Island because I accidentally talked her into playing those games after our last record session.
Yeah, give a
She
lady Monkey Island update. What you've surmised.
she said she realized she hadn't played the last two Monkey Island games that she used to play in front of all of us as we were youths. So she was truly the first Twitch streamer us playing in front of us friends.
But I like
Well,
that. It's like more underground. It's like cooler. You gotta know what's going on. Let's take the old Twitch stream back and just play video games in front of our friends in our living rooms. How about that? Shut down the internet.
yeah, if only we were analog recording it at the time with a giant video camera that we could have
Oh yeah. You could do
released.
little flashbacks.
She was worried about playing it again because she said, once I start, I'm not going to be able to stop. And like 2 days later, she had played through both games. So I guess I'm a bad influence. And she was also correct that when she started, she wouldn't be able to stop until she finished.
She
So
knows herself. You
she
gotta
knows
hand it to
herself,
her.
and I
Hmm.
respect that.
I do too. You know, I actively avoid video games now. Is that so sad or what? But I have so much to do that I know I have that same feeling of like once I start a video game and I'm really hooked into it, it's like all I can think about while I'm at work. I'm like, I just got to get back to that game. Oh, I got to get to that game. If I'm like socializing with someone, I'm like, oh, that game though. You know, like it never leaves the front of my brain. And then
Mhm.
obviously then every waking hour that I have that's not dedicated to something is then on that game. And then I'm like, oh shit, where did the time go? You know? But if I didn't have work, I would play more video games. I freaking hate work.
Eh, all the things we would do if we weren't working.
Imagine all the energy and creative potential that's just like burned completely away in the 8 hours we spend at work. Oh,
Did you ever play Monkey Island?
no, I never did. But I like the genre of that point and click adventure, like mystery solving.
Yeah, it's about a guy named Guybrush Threepwood who goes against the villainous pirate LeChuck, and has a girlfriend named Elaine, I want to say. And it was comedic in parts. Like he hides a whole duck in his pants because you know how in those games you have an inventory of
Mhm.
items you can use in the game. He keeps it all in his pants. And so he's always pulling stuff out. So it was a fun one. I'm sad we don't get ladies input this time around.
That'll be next week.
Then this is a teaser for her.
Teaser, a little preview. She's gonna have stuff to say.
All right. So I'm gonna do a little soap talk with you. Hopefully it won't take too long.
Catch me up.
So our first episode is Jill has a dream. He has a dream he's with Tara, and then his mom wakes him up. That's all that happens in clip one. Like I said, the 70s we're gonna get through so fast because there's almost nothing from the
Yeah,
70s.
do the level. Okay, so I have a question before we get into it.
Hmm.
So I remember watching Passions, the twists and turns were constant. It was a twist and turn every episode. Is the 70s version of a soap opera more slow played than the modern day soap opera, or was it just as wild?
I have a hard time knowing that, but because there's so many gaps. But from what I've seen of like the 80s, it was more fast paced than it was in the 2000s. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, interesting.
Every day there was some plot movement in at least one of the plots, and I think the the ones in the 2000s kind of treaded water a little bit more.
You know what? Actually, you're totally right. I say that, but now I'm recalling there was one holiday party the impassions that I think went on for 2 weeks, and it's probably a party that must have lasted 4 hours in real time. And it was just like going to different people having conversations in the party over and over again. I think that's when I started to like lose a little bit of interest. But yeah, you're right. Those 2000 soaps were pretty slow.
Yeah, I think by that point they assumed people were watching on Fridays, so they'd like try to set up a
Mm,
Friday cliffhanger. But yeah, in the 80s ones I've seen, it seems like a little more is happening because they were expecting more viewers. I think they averaged like across the board, a lot of the soaps, at least the big ones that we remember now, average like 10 million viewers a day, which is crazy numbers,
huge,
you know,
huge.
in present day where,
Mm.
shows are hits if they get 5 million. So our next episode, here's Mona. She's Erica's mom, and she's trying to stop Nick from going to see his son Phil, but he just can't stay away. And
It's
he's
his
in
son. What do you expect?
in that same episode, Erica tells Mona that she plans to marry Jeff Martin, and
Ooh,
Phil doesn't want anyone to know about his accident. Erica is marrying Jeff Martin, and something that happened in this period of time we're talking about this week is Erica Kane had the first abortion in daytime right after a Roe v. Wade passed.
wow.
And in present times, that's even more important. But at the time, she was married to Jeff. They had enough money to live on. She just wanted to be a model, and knew that having a baby could derail that, so she had an abortion, and it was a big deal at the time, the first one in daytime history.
I feel like people would still make a huge deal of that nowadays, even. It's awful.
And in the clip I just showed you, everyone was kind of in black and white. It was broadcast in color and recorded in black and white because it was cheaper. So that's a fun fact. I don't know if anyone
Wait,
else.
so broadcast in color, it was shot in black and white. So does that mean they're painted? How does that work?
I think it was when it was shown out. I don't know how they did it, but I'll show you
Hmm.
another clip that I have where basically it was aired in color
Hmm.
and then in black and white.
The black and white almost makes it look a little classier. There's some kind of weird quality jump where it's like the middling quality of color in the 70s through 90s looks like shit in a way that I don't know, modern films in black and white don't. Although I say that and I love that aesthetic. I think it's coming back with Zoomers, to be honest.
So I don't know if they just had a color copy for broadcast that they destroyed right after or something, but they said to save money, they recorded the episodes in black and white in the early years. So
Mm.
I have another clip from 1971 that's in color. So it was in color.
It's just
A
when they
lot.
took their copy for their files, they just were like, oh, we just need the black and white version.
So let's see what else we got. Nick marries Ann Tyler over the years, and he accuses her brother Lincoln of thinking bad of him. And Anne feels bad about not moving back to New York because of her marriage to Nick. And so next we're going to jump all the way to 1973 to their first murder mystery thing. So basically, Jeff stayed with Erica after she secretly aborted his baby, but then she started cheating on him with her modeling manager, Jason Maxwell.
Erica's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the theme?
Yeah. Well, she stays for 41 years, and only one other character does that. So I guess two, but recast. So she's like one of the two original actors from the beginning.
Awesome.
And I think it's because she's a mess. She just kept generating stories. I actually really like the character of Erica Kane because I feel on soap operas, and I don't know if this is true of Passions, you can, or Days of Our Lives as well. You said you were
Mhm.
Days of,
I dabbled in that one. Yeah.
a lot of them are either heroes or villains, the characters. And I think she was a rarity of it depended on the storyline. Like,
Ooh, like a more
you know,
complex point of view.
mhm, like she could be, secretly having an affair with somebody's husband, but also if a friend of hers needed money, she'd find him a place to live and a job. Like she could do those things simultaneously and it didn't feel out of character. And I
No.
think a lot of shows were afraid to do that. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I feel like the fun thing is always when a character has been bad, and then oh, suddenly they're turning. Oh, are they good? And then oh no, they're bad again. That undulating. Has this character finally redeemed themselves? No, they're evil. Wait, are they okay? Are they actually good? No, I think I remember a few characters that they like to toy with the back and forth of you were good and now you're bad.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are allowed to have to live in the gray. I think that the character of Erica Kane was, and I mean, I think men did it a lot more than the women. The women were either evil or they were damsels in distress. And I felt like she could be completely horrible to one person and then nice to another person. And it felt in character the whole time.
How many things from back in the day that were labeled as heroic storylines for the male actors are actually evil storyline by the modern viewpoint, I wonder. Like, oh,
That's a
it's so
good question.
romantic. He's following her.
I have noticed some storylines that wouldn't work today just because of cell phones. Like
I can't get in touch with him. Yeah.
there's plots coming up in the 80s that are like that, like, oh, they're about to be murdered, I better call. Oh no, they're not home. Oh,
The
oh
line's
gosh.
dead.
Hmm. And that goes on for like a week, like someone's just
Send
like,
out a pigeon.
yeah, how do I get in touch with someone who's not home?
Oh, yeah. I feel like it was kind of slow to adapt as far as writing. I feel like writers didn't adapt to the reality of cell phones until I think maybe pretty recently, but I think a lot of tropes, I think now they're justifying with cell phones, but I think for a long time the telephone booth remained in films longer than it actually existed, and those answering machine playing out loud a message that lasted a little bit longer than it actually lasted in real life.
Yeah. And now I
It's
think
just
you just
easy
have
storytelling, easy devices.
I think now the plot lines have to all revolve around you need to steal someone's cell phone or someone needs to lose their cell phone somehow so that they're unable to communicate. But we'll see as we go. I wonder how some of these will age.
Yes.
So basically, Erica cheats on her husband with her manager, Jason Maxwell. He's a bad guy, kind of stringing women along. Jeff finally decides to leave Erica for the love of his life, Nurse Mary Kennicott, but he's accused of murdering Jason Maxwell, who's found dead.
Oh my God.
So Erica testifies against, or she tries to testify against him in court. She makes her ex-father-in-law, Joe Martin, who we'll talk back about him again later. She makes Joe pay her money to not testify against her poor ex-husband in court, blackmails him a little bit. And so, not to incriminate Jeff, but she does kind of testify against him a bit. And then her sweet mother, Mona, gets hypnotized and remembers that it was her who killed Jason Maxwell to protect Erica because he said he was going to destroy Erica's life because he was done with her.
Ooh, okay. When she was hypnotized, did she have an affect of like, oh, I'm remembering now? Was it very dramatic and very literary?
Yeah, it was like very in a trance. It was
Oh.
I'm seeing it now. I'm walking up to Jason kind of deal. Mona remembers she killed Jason Maxwell. She kind of gets away with it because she's a sweet old lady. And I think it was kind of like in self-defense. We are wrapping up 1973, and then next week we'll start into 1975.
So have you already watched all these episodes? Are you watching every single episode from 1975?
That's
Or are you,
available. So,
that's a
base,
lot, isn't it? Because if it's a daily show, right?
but like I said, a lot of it was destroyed in a fire.
Oh yeah, okay, you're right. I was like,
So,
damn, you were just booking it through these years.
so there's one episode from 1975,
Oh, okay.
and so
That makes
that's
sense.
how I'm able to get through
Okay.
it. Like everything I'm talking to you about is like what's available. So
I
we went
see.
from 1970 to 1973 in about two episodes. And then I think once we get to the 80s, it'll get a little more consistent. It'll stretch out a little more. And then by the late 1980s, we should have like every single day of the week, which I can bore you with.
I always, hear some exciting stuff. I'm fully invested in the plot lines. I need to know what happens next, but I'm not willing to watch them. So please just tell me next week. I'll be here.
Yeah, so we'll be going through 1975 to I think 1978 next week. And that's just like five episodes or clips.
Nice. All right. Well, that was fun.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Our theme song is Wouldn't It Be Nice by Sound Mirage featuring Lady Rand. Please rate and review, download, subscribe, all the things. And you can email us at amcrewatch@gmail.com. Thanks. Talk to you next week.